So I know that you, with our boss, Mike Bloomberg, issued a report today, announced a report about the progress that's been made. And the main question is, how far can the states, such as California, plus for the private sector, how much progress can they make without the federal government?
We can make a lot of progress, but obviously we need not only the U.S. government at the federal level all in, we need all the countries of the world. But pending that, which we don't have, we have the ability of states, California, New York, Vermont, Washington, Colorado, New Jersey, all these states are willing to do their part. We've got to cut carbon emissions. We see the storms off North Carolina. Now, that's the kind of thing that is going to happen more and more often and more deadly. So, yes, the report that's issued that you reference, we can do a lot. We're getting more electric cars. We're getting more renewable energy. We're supporting more installation of batteries for our electric cars and our storage. So lots of things to do. But ultimately, we need the leaders of every country in the world, Russia, China, U.S., all in on trying to combat climate change before it gets so deadly that we see mass migrations, tropical diseases, and widespread deaths from suffocating heat. Those are all real. Now, they may be 30 years away, right, but in the lifetime of most of your listeners.
Right. You really need and want the affirmative support of the federal government. Can the federal government actually inhibit the progress you are making? Because, as you know, there's a fight right now, particularly between the state of California and the federal government on fuel standards involving automobiles. Does the state of California have the right to proceed if the federal government says it can't?
No, we do have the right under a law signed by Richard Nixon when he was president and Ronald Reagan was governor of California. He was my predecessor when I became governor the last time. So, look, we got the power. Now, President Trump, under certain procedures, can try to eliminate that, and he's doing that, and we're fighting him in court. And I believe we will be in court longer than he'll be president. So he's not going to take away that power, and it's crucial that we maintain our effort. And let me tell you why. It's not only about clean air. It's not only about efficiency of our cars, but the next 10 years will show the dominance of the electric car. Is that going to be a China hegemony, or is America going to be in the game? President Trump, by his actions, is sabotaging the American car industry. And before he gets away with that, we have to wake up the country to say, hey, America has to invest in batteries, invest in hydrogen cars, in electric cars, in charging stations. If we don't do that, we will suffer an onslaught of foreign electric cars that will be coming our way. So not only is it bad for the environment, it's bad for the economy and bad for America's position in the world. Trump must be stopped, and must be stopped now. That's what California's commitment is.
So Governor, you also have another commitment. It's a pretty aggressive goal. You've signed, as I understand, into law a goal of having California as a state be carbon-free by the year 2045. I'm going to put up a couple of charts. You might not be able to see them, but you're familiar with them, that shows the breakdown depends on oil for California, and it depends on natural gas, on nuclear, and on renewables. And while renewables have been growing some, it's a relatively modest portion of the overall energy demands for the state of California. And in fact, through Bloomberg NEF, which is our special outfit that covers these things, you're the second largest consumer of oil in the country as a state, second only to Texas. How is the state of California going to reach these lofty goals? They're pretty aggressive.
Three things. We got to have the electric car, currently being pushed more by China than the United States. But we are definitely looking for 5 million electric cars by 2030, maybe more. Can we get there? Only if China, California, and other states and the auto industry makes that investment. Number two, we need the batteries, the electric batteries for storage. We need storage to complement intermittent power that comes from wind and solar. And third, we need a regional grid that will allow us to share power at peak times with our other states. And then we need other technologies. We need commitments by builders for their buildings. We need healthier soils. We have to capture carbon in our forests. So yes, it's a very daunting task, But if we don't get there, what you see in North Carolina will be a tea party. The fires have never been worse, and they're going to get 5 times worse if we don't deal and reduce our carbon. So it's just an imperative. It's when Hitler was moving across Europe, it was not going to be cheap to fight him back. Well, fighting back climate change is not cheap either. If we don't do it, we will suffer. And I don't think that's what people want. And everything I can will be directed at the effort of getting this state and this country and this world on the side of sanity. That's 0 carbon emissions by 2045.
And that's going to cost a fair amount. What you just laid out, those 3 points are going to cost a fair amount. Can you get there without a carbon tax? Is that the way to get there?
Well, we have a cap and trade, which is a price on carbon. I think that works better. Some states may want a carbon tax, but we all know that if you want less of something, you need to tax it. If you want more of something, then you relieve all the burdens on it. We want less carbon, less pollutants, less methane, and that pricing is a very important way to get there. But we also need regulations. And is it going to be expensive? Yes. Is it as expensive of doing nothing? No. The expense of the path we're on now is trillions of dollars more than what it would be is if we get to 0 carbon emissions. We have no choice. This is where the world's going.
So, Governor, I'm mindful that you're approaching the end of your term. You've had quite a storied political career. Have you accomplished everything you want? And I guess that really leads to, might you hold another public office?
Well, I don't rule anything out. I've got a lot of ideas. I'm more experienced. I'm more skilled after having done this for the last 45 years. But I'm also realizing this is the end of this time as governor. But I'll be around to work in whatever way or field or other endeavor that I think my services and experience can be of help.
And finally, whether it's you running for office or somebody else, social media has come very much into play when it comes to politics. There are lots of issues now, but we don't know where advertisements are coming from when we see them on Facebook and on Twitter, things like that. What do you see as your experience with politics? What can be done to retain the best of social media, which after all really originates in your state, and leave out some of the things that could really undermine our democracy?
Well, I'm not sure how you're going to censor social media, or if you should. We have to have enough media savvy and insight and sophistication that we can deal with stuff. Look, don't worry about social media. One night on Fox News from Hannity and Tucker Carlson puts more poison into the body politic than Putin does in 10 years, or that the other crazies on the right wing pour into the social media. TV and certain commentators and radio, they're doing plenty of damage. So what we need to do is leaders from both parties, from a wide variety of backgrounds, need to raise the level of our public discourse. Otherwise, democracy will have a very hard time keeping an even keel. So, yeah, what you point to is a threat, but I would say it's much bigger and is not just confined to social media. It's all over the channels of communication that are disrupting democracy in America and Europe, throughout the entire world. So you folks at Bloomberg have a lot of work to do to figure out how to make it all a lot safer than it is.